Is your child, or maybe even your grandchild, planning a wedding for maybe sometime during the rest of this year or maybe next year? You're a little unclear about what your role should be. Maybe you're giving them a budget and you have certain expectations because of the money that you're giving them, or you're not sure when you should stick your nose in or keep your foot out. All of these questions are going to be answered. And my name is Sherry Curley. I'm also known as the Practical Sort because I provide practical home organizing solutions in an eco-friendly way. I'm also an organizing motivator, speaker, and writer. And Nicole Herinckx, who is a wedding coordinator and a wedding coach with Zilla, and you can find her at zillaevents.com, is here with me today to go into the role of those who may not be the bride and groom and how they figure into this puzzle. Nicole, thank you so much for being here. And this is so appropriate right now because I know of at least 6 of my friends whose kids had wedding plans for this year that got postponed. They're all a little frantic. They're all very uncertain about their roles, especially as weddings are being replanned, and they see maybe tasks that haven't been taken care of. Do I say something? Do I keep my nose out? Like, take us through this whole identity for those who are not the bride and groom.
Yes. This is I love that we're covering this topic because especially right now, to be completely honest, when I'm working with clients, right next to budget stressors is parents. So
I'll have to remember that.
Sorry for all your listeners here. But that is honestly the truth. And what's interesting about it is I either hear my parents, specifically the moms usually, my parents are not involved enough. Why won't they get involved? Wow. And then, or it's the exact opposite of, oh my gosh, they need to just step aside and let me do my thing. So it's one or the other. There's usually not like a gray area. That kind of triggered something for me. I was like, gosh, this is so interesting. And I think it really goes to a discovery process around what is that relationship been in the past? And how do you typically show love? How do your kids receive love? And I don't know if you've read the book, 5 Languages of Love. It's a really good book. It's a very quick read. And it's been eye-opening for me when working with clients, because if we can kind of dive into how do they receive love and how do their parents receive love, we at least getting some perspective. So if someone's complaining about, oh my gosh, my mom is just so, involved. She's calling vendors without my permission. She's giving me all of this advice and really kind of living vicariously. Oh, well, she didn't have this type of wedding and now it's her chance to have the wedding of her dreams through me. If we can get some perspective on where that might be coming from, she's making up for that by being more involved in mine. And so when we found that out, it was this aha moment where we could go, oh, she just wants to show you, hey, I'm doing right by you. And so we were able to kind of come up with some ways for her mom to be involved that was positive and was how her daughter wanted to receive it.
So it sounds like setting some boundaries early on is really consequential. And coming from personal experience, I have noticed that there are certain expectations that come along if, say, financial assistance is being given by certain parties. How much weight and how do you draw the boundaries if there is financial assistance given? Because face it, weddings are so expensive and couples may need that extra hand. I guess there's the option of scaling back and going, look, you can make the decision that you don't want the money, but take us through this.
Yeah, this happens a lot. So ideally, if the parents can give the money as a pure gift, that is ideal. Like, we are going to contribute, say, $5,000. You do with it what you will. It will be given on this day, and you're so welcome, and we love you and support you. And then we're done.
No
That's
strings attached.
ideal.
That's ideal. Probably
No
just
strings
natural, though.
attached. That is ideal. That seems to have like by far the best results because it's not this power trip and it really is a gift. The definition of gift though is different for people. So I think that if you are giving money and hey, we would like to contribute to the flowers within this amount with this, because a lot of people say, oh, I'm contributing to the flowers. Well, flowers could be 500, 10,000. Like we don't know what flowers mean. So getting really specific on the definition around that and having a conversation about it. And also going, is that a gift that you want? There's also kind of the true cost of what that gift means. If the flowers are not high on the priority list for the couple and they actually would really like to spend that money on the DJ, then that needs to be communicated. There's emotions behind it and you have to find kind of the right timing for those conversations. I think as painful as it can sometimes be, it's always worth it to talk it through.
Okay, Nicole, let's just make this a little more complicated because you just made most of that sound so easy. So many people these days have multiple sets of parents. We're not just talking about one set of or two sets of parents. We're talking about potentially, if you start looking at step parents, now you've got all of these cooks in the kitchen who probably want to add their 2 cents. You've also maybe got the awkwardness, say, if the bride or the groom has predominant planning in this process to approach, say, the other side and go, hey, look, you're kind of stepping outside the boundaries here that I feel comfortable with. I imagine, first of all, that you offer some kind of group counseling or group coaching where you kind of bring in these others and say, look, we need to draw some boundaries here because things are getting a little uncomfortable. But if they don't even have you on board, are there some quick steps that people can take to figure out how to put the fences around this so that it doesn't get like a mud pit and just really
kind of the first thing that comes to mind is when you're engaged and you're getting married, there's this transition of, hey, I'm a kid and my parents view me still in some capacity as a dependent. And now I'm transitioning from that role and relationship to we are now building our own family and we are a joint force and we're together. So what I advise couples to do is to, during the engagement period, to go and communicate things directly through him if it's in relation to his family. And then the bride to communicate on her side of the family and to not co-mix. There's usually an interesting dynamic between the bride and the future mother-in-law. They start calling each other and one says and it can get messy really quick. So if that's starting to happen, a quick fix to that is to have the groom, hey mom, this is the new woman in my life. And that can be really hard for the mother of the groom to come to peace with. And making the transition from being engaged to married as smooth as possible by keeping the communication through him until mom and dad go, okay, they're married now, so now we get it, and we're acclimating to this new relationship with our kids. In relation to like the day of, if the bride especially can have an advocate that's maybe a little bit removed from the family or someone that really is neutral minded to go, hey, I'm the gal or guy that you come to if we need to troubleshoot.
Someone like you.
The bride. Yes, someone like me. or just someone that gets it and can kind of pad everybody a little bit.
It sounds like the whole thing boils down to communication and keeping those communication lines open. And I love the idea of, no matter who it is, having some neutral party to run interference to protect the emotional core of the bride and the groom so that their day can go off the way they would.
Because most brides and grooms are kind of deer in the headlights on their wedding day. They can't even process the most simple, let them be in that state of mind. Really good to do.
I remember just being a prop at my wedding. They
Right. Just
and put me here.
going from, yeah.
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 And it was
You
just
kind of
so
want to eat.
there was never a chance to eat. Every time
Yeah.
I sat down, my food was being taken away. And
Yeah.
I just wish
Yeah.
somebody would have been there to say, can you leave her food till she actually comes back to
Yeah.
eat it?
I remember going, where's my beverage? Could someone please get me?
Before we leave each other, I want to thank you so much for being part of this. This has been so
Oh,
much
this is so fun.
enlightening. And if I ever get to that point where I need your services, you bet I'm going to be on
Oh.
the phone to contact you. But tell me how to do that again. Remind me.
Oh, yes. So I'm the most active on Instagram. So if you follow me on at Zilla Events on Instagram, and then Nicole at zillaevents.com. And then I also have, my website is zillaevents.com on there.
You can find me, Sherry, at thepracticalsort.com for your organizing or any kind of home solutions that you need, including extending outward to finding people who can help make your weddings much easier for you. And you can find me again at thepracticalsort.com. And thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope we get a chance, Nicole, to do more in the future, because this has been so much fun. And be sure to check out the blog, thepracticalsort.com, or on Nicole's social media, because I'm sure she's going to be posting this on there. We would love for you to check it out. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.